You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and I'm not joined by anybody today. And you might be asking yourself, why? Well, the real reason, and to be honest, it's because, well, I didn't have time this week. The night we normally record is Thursdays. The issue is my family is sick, so I haven't been able to sit down in the basement all week, which is where I record. I have an actual office, but it's downstairs. That being said, it's also my wife's birthday this week, which is the same day that Star Wars Episode 7 comes out. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch Star Wars on the big screen this weekend. And if I could get away from, have somebody babysit my kids, I would go see it. But unfortunately, I'm not going to strand my wife like that either, so it's really killing me. I wish there was an online source that I could watch it legally, actually pay for the rental type thing, even if it was $10-12, like a Comcast thing on demand, or an iTunes thing, or something like that. I would legitimately pay for this film because I don't want to see it grainy and kind of crap quality. And it's hard not to go into this episode and not think about Star Wars based on the fact that this is going to be the biggest movie of the year. I mean, to be honest, there's nobody in their right mind that would not be enthused about this movie unless you're Pierce Morgan, who's a douchebag. You want reference on that, go look on Twitter and stuff like that. He's like, oh, this movie's terrible, and he hasn't even watched it. Anyways, that aside, would have had TFG1 mic, however, his monitor blew out, so I had to order him a monitor and have that sent to him. It's kind of one of those fun weeks. Probably won't have an episode next week, being that it's going to be Christmas and kind of, everybody's going to be in the festivities and kind of be busy. If you'd like an episode, be sure to leave a comment in the episode post for this episode, which is 119, and let me know, because I will record an episode if the interest is there, if people are looking for something to listen to kind of get away from family during the weekend or something, or whatever. But I kind of think that most people are going to be preoccupied with what's going on Christmas, being that it's a Friday and people have the weekend and whatnot. So again, that being said, I'm really enthused for Star Wars. I will preface this with, I have been looking violently for Star Wars leaks. You might be asking why. Well, the way my mind works is when I read a book, I'll start the first few chapters, I'll read the end, and then I'll continue. Sounds really stupid. The only reason I do this is because it makes more sense to me once I start and watch back earlier, and it prevents me from having to watch the film again a second time, at least right away. I have found out, not going to do any spoilers because that's kind of a douchebag thing to do. This is the day that it comes out. I'm not going to ruin the movie for people because this is such an iconic series. It's just not right. If you want to seek that kind of stuff out, you can go to reddit.com/r/Star Wars leaks / and that's where you can get all the Star Wars spoilers and leaks that you want. There is footage on there that periodically gets taken down, but it's on vid.me.com or something, or vid.me, that the footage keeps popping up. It explains a lot of the backstory of certain people. It explains what happens. It shows video of certain elements of the movie. Not going to say any of what it is, but it made things a lot clearer, and then to me, it kind of brought up some of the rumors that were floating about for the last year or two, and either cemented them or sidestepped them. So take that for what you will. Moving on, because I really don't want to spoil this movie at all. I've been having fun watching all week the like how it should have ended and the cinema sins of the prequels of the other Star Wars movies or the honest trailers of the other movies. And it's been really fun watching this lead up to every week of all the Star Wars content, kind of showing you the way things in the film, kind of leading up to the awesomeness that is The Force Awakens. And everything I've read about this film and everything I've seen footage-wise, it is very amped up in the action department. The quality of the picture is better than the original stuff, and it is better than the prequel trilogy. It does kind of keep with that kind of... it kind of mixes the aesthetics of the prequel trilogy, of the newer, kind of look and shinier and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of mixes it with the or the original trilogy, so you get that kind of nice amalgamation of stuff. So I think JJ did a really good job in that department. There wasn't like an abundance of lens flare or any of that kind of stuff. You could really tell he enjoyed what he did, as far as what I've seen so far and what I've heard. Yeah, so I've been having fun watching all those little videos floating around this week. It's been really cool, kind of referring back to everything. So getting into some of the things that I've kind of watched over the past week, floating about. Well, they have, Zack Snyder dropped some new promo posters for Batman v Superman. They have the armored Batman with the Bat logo in red with the date. Looks really cool. And then they've got Superman with the red logo of Superman over top of them, and then Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman with her logo over top. And it's really great art. I really enjoyed seeing that. So that's really cool. So also jumping into the other realm of moviedom, there's been Ghostbusters posters that have popped up with the new Ghostbusters in it, with kind of a green background and kind of it almost, in the picture, it's almost like a callback to, like, all of them are dressed in their uniforms, all of them have their proton packs and their proton cannons. Looks very reminiscent of something you'd see in the original. They've got kind of a theater-looking thing behind them, and it kind of looks like the building that the alien, or like the ghosts possessed, or the demons possessed in the first Ghostbusters film, and the tower in the background behind them. So it really looks really neat. I'm really kind of stoked to see what they do as far as that's concerned. Also, in other geekly related news, we have, sorry, my brain is so scattered. I'm so excited for the Star Wars stuff. It's hard to concentrate, realistically. The Star Trek Beyond trailer came out. Now, I want to say I like it, but I don't. And the Star Wars trailers, I have to say, had a lot more going for them, whereas the Star Trek one, I feel like I'm watching, I'm feeling like they gave away a lot of the big plot points right in the first trailer. And if you haven't watched it yet, you should see it. It got leaked and then they revealed it online shortly thereafter, legitimately. They have the Enterprise getting blown to smithereens by some new alien race, which I give them props. They did something different. They had a new alien race. They had the Enterprise getting blown apart. Okay, I get that. I'm a little peeved that the Enterprise got blown away this early, but they're going to do an Enterprise A. And then they show the crew stranded on a planet. Okay, they got little slightly altered uniforms, so they changed them up a hair from the original series kind of aesthetic look. It's more of that smoother look of the actual original series, but they added more of like a TNG type collar to it. But they're still all one color, so I liked it. It was kind of interesting. A lot of the humor is there. A lot of the actual Star Trek isms are there. The only thing I didn't like is it feels like I'm watching a Fast and the Furious movie because Justin Lin directed it, and it's got Beastie Boys, who are huge fans, which I get it. They used it in the first film, and I don't have a problem with the music in the trailer. I feel like it overshadows some of the conversation that's brought up at points in the trailer. So it kind of bothers me a little bit. but only in that aesthetic way. I don't mind it overall. I just feel like I'm watching a Fast and the Furious movie with the trailer, and I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this is fleshed out a lot differently than what the trailer's portraying. And again, it's the first trailer, and it comes out in July, so it's hard to say what it's actually going to look like until the next trailer. Kind of like The Force Awakens, how the first trailer kind of didn't really. I mean, it gave you a little bit, but I respect The Force Awakens because it hasn't really given you anything in the trailers. It's given you a little bit. It's given you a taste, enough to like really make you rabid about it, but it really doesn't give you anything. The Star Trek one, I feel like it's given you too much. Much like a lot of the other films that are, doing that, like Batman v Superman and so on. It's just too much going on in there. I would have liked to have seen a little bit something different. I'm not sure what. This is coming from a diehard Trekkie, so like I hate the entire rebooted universe for the most part. I enjoy it, but I feel like I'm not watching a Star Trek movie, which is partially a problem, partially not, because they were stuck in this rut of being the same old, but I don't feel like there's any essence of Trek other than characters there, which I feel is diminishing to the franchise for hitting 50 years. I'm not saying there should be a callback to something that's already there. I'm saying there should be more intelligent science-isms that have been in Trek over the past 50 years, and not just like watching a Fast and the Furious meets Star Wars movie. And that's what I feel like I'm watching here. And again, I get that the demographics changed massively in the last 10, 15 years, and that's why it's looking the way it does, but I can't get past it. In other kind of movie news, we have the 12 Days of Deadpool, which Ryan Reynolds kind of released. And it says, each image is something different. Every day is going to release something leading up to a new trailer on December 26th. Super stoked for this because the marketing on this thing is genius. Like, they've got a thing of the Deadpool belt, wait till you get a load of me. And then there's other Deadpool-isms. They got one of him, about his ass and everything else. It's just been kind of brilliant as far as that stuff's concerned. So, that being said, I'm kind of moving on a little bit to something a little different. Wanted to say that, I know I brought it up last week, the board game of, based on the pitch your own movie kind of thing, did get funded. It almost made its stretch goal, which meant it would have had the 80s movies cards in there, which I would have been, like, massively enthusiastic for. But it sadly didn't make that goal, so I was kind of sad a little bit, but I'll end up buying it when it comes out, so it's it is what it is. But I'm super stoked for it. Epic rap battles this week. Also wanted to get in on the Star Trek stuff, or not Star Wars, not Star Trek. Oh yeah, I just talked about it. Deadpool is taking on Boba Fett in an epic rap battle, and it's like 2 minutes and 30 some odd seconds. Pretty funny. It's a nice play on both characters and kind of attacking each other, so it's fun. I showed it to everybody in my class today, so it was kind of humorous having everybody watching it behind me. So yeah, there's that, and this is finals week for me, so I'm a little fried too. I'm not sick like the rest of my family, so that's at least a bonus. But we just finished our presentation today on the aesthetics class, and we did Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows, and we had to do 18 aesthetics of the film and break it up between the two of us and write a 1,200-word paper, which isn't much when you've got two people. I wrote like 800 words by myself, so it wasn't really a big deal. The PowerPoint, and I purposely chose today to do it instead of last week, because last week he was more drilling into all the PowerPoints and all the presentations, and he was focusing more. This week he was preoccupied because it's the last day of class, and so he skipped the questions. He just has blitzed through it. We actually got 100 out of 100 because of a multitude of things. It was a really good PowerPoint put together, and video and audio, and it was really fun. My partner and I did a really good job on it. So we we got 100 out of 100, and there were a couple other groups who were like, well, we got 70 out of 100, and their PowerPoints weren't that great. I'm not dissing people on that. I just usually when I'm in a group, I do the PowerPoint because I've always done the PowerPoints like as far back as like middle school, and it usually serves me greatly to do so. Then my other class is almost done, thank God. Next semester I have screenwriting, so that's going to be a totally different beast. Thankfully, no books are needed to be purchased. So that's, again, my happiness with that. So Hasbro, I know it's kind of flip-flopping all over the place. I'm not sure how long this episode's going to be, and I'm sorry if it's a little jarring. I am trying to like kind of converse on it at the same time. And some of it I have the notes pulled up, and some of it I'm remembering by something I see on my screen. We had Hasbro decided to do. They're wanting to bring Mask, G.I. Joe, and like Transformers and various other properties like that into a like 80s cinematic universe, which actually isn't really that bad of an idea if you mix them all, kind of have them all separate films, kind of join together like an Avengers type thing. Really wouldn't be that bad because they're all 80s properties, and 80s stuff today is pretty big because, again, we're the ones with the money now spending the money. So, and I understand that none of it's going to be like the original. I've gotten over that ship years ago, like even with the Ninja Turtle stuff. The last movie was jarring and shocking to me, and then I still don't like it, but I get why they redid it totally different than the other ones in the 90s because they really were a product of the 90s, and this is today. So the TMNT 2 I'm really stoked for, so that's, I think they're going to hit it out of the park for the second one. I think the first one was like them discovering how they were going to pull this off, and then it's totally changed since then. So, this is fun. I'm watching people entering Star Wars right now, which is beautiful. I wish I was one of those lucky bastards. Damn you people. No, have fun. I seriously, that's awesome. No, I'm reading an article. It says Simon Pegg is disappointed by the Star Trek Beyond trailer. It is different than Into Darkness, so I got to give it that, and I will give it a shot. I mean, I'm pissing on the Fruit Loops right now about it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I think Into Darkness was like the bastard child of the new reboot, because this is something totally different. And they're kind of beating Lin a little bit because they said that he's doing he isn't from the harder, more intellectual sci-fi crowd. He's from the jumping cars out of airplanes crowd. So, when the first trailer was debuted, and I'm reading this verbatim from Screen Crush, it says, a lot of Trekkies felt like their worst fears for the franchise were confirmed. Gone was any high-minded philosophy or exploration. All that was left was action, action, action. But Simon Pegg, who stars in the film as Scotty, also co-wrote the Beyond screenplay, says that's not true. Speaking with the website, hey, you guys, at the premiere of the Force Awakens, Pegg spoke frankly about his reaction to the Star Trek Beyond trailer. His thoughts, it's not great. He says, I found the trailer to be the marketing people sort of saying, everybody come and see this film, it's full of action and fun, when there's a lot more to it than that. I didn't love it because I know there's a lot more to the film. There's a lot more story and a lot more character stuff, and a lot more what I would call Star Trek stuff. That definitely kind of eases me a little bit, so I guess I can get off my soapbox. I'll wait till the next trailer before I actually make a, kind of an actual decision on it. I do have some theories on Star Wars Episode 7. This is not from the spoiler realm. This is left field stuff, has nothing to do with any of the Reddit pages, has nothing to do with anything. This is just my personal opinion coming out to play. I have a feeling that Supreme Leader Snoke is going to be Darth Plagueis, Palpatine's mentor, and that he figured out a way to resurrect himself after Palpatine killed him, and is going to resurface. He is resurfaced, but I think that he's going to be the guy pulling the machinations behind the scenes, kind of like Palpatine, but like a little less in your face and kind of like hidden from the Jedi. And I think that eventually there will be a duke out between him and Luke in Episode 9. In addition to whoever else happens to be in the films, either that or it might be, Luke dies at the hands of him and Rey destroys him or something. I don't know. But I think that it's going to be Plagueis. I really do. And unless it's one of the Inquisitors from Star Wars Rebels, I really don't see any other connection. Which it could be that first Inquisitor that showed up in Star Wars Rebels. I don't know. It kind of... the imagery I've saw of the character reminds me of either one, so it's kind of hard for me to really tell either way. And the visuals I've seen aren't really that clear, so again, it's not... I don't have a clue. I'm just spitballing it here. I think Anakin's still going to come back in Episode 8, if nothing more than as a Force ghost. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be used in Rogue Squadron. I think he'll make an appearance as Vader in that, but I don't think it'll be much more in that than what's been already said. And I think that's part of what the misdirection was with Vader returning for Episode 8. So yeah, that's my one spitball I had on that. It'd be nice if they revealed if some other Jedis are still alive, like Kanan or Ezra. But who knows? I don't know. I think it would be nice to see them kind of appear, more or less. So, the trailer dropped for Fuller House on Netflix, which will be out in February. Have to say that I'm a little interested, I should say. And they did the colors, or they redid the house. They kind of did almost a shot for shot, like of how the original show opened. And there's no music behind it. And it goes to the house, does like a panning of the house, and this is on February 26th. The entire series will be on there. And I believe it's a 13-episode thing. And it says, life is full again. You see a golden retriever walking around the house. It looks spotless. No traces of any of the uncles there. And it definitely looks like a female touch on it. And you hear all the characters talking, minus the Olsen twins, obviously. On the other side of the door is the dogs kind of dragging at it. It says Fuller House, a Netflix original series. I'm a little pumped for it only because I'm hoping that the writing's a lot better and not throwaway as the old show, if that makes any sense. So I'm optimistic for it. I'll give it a shot. So. Whew. Yeah, it's been a wild week for Geek News. I'm just super pumped on all of that. Disney, is doing something wonderful for Star Wars fans. And it wouldn't be Disney if they weren't trying to make money off fans. Are going to release the unaltered cut of the Star Wars trilogy to be released on Blu-ray. The original unaltered cut of Star Wars, like the original VHS tapes that we all had before Lucas decided to retouch them with CGI bullshit in the front. So that'll be really interesting to see when that comes out, who all partakes in that. I'm kind of that opinion that I do love the unaltered stuff, don't get me wrong. I like the up-to-date graphics, like the remastering of some of the stuff, and some of the background music and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of him throwing the CGI Jabba or some of those random creatures all over the place that never leave a footprint wherever they walk. So I'm not a fan of any of that. Or the Guido shot first bullshit. He's like John Wayne. He can't shoot first. He's supposed to be the noble one. No, he's a scoundrel. He knows that Guido's going to shoot him, so he kills him first. Point taken there. So, I mean, I would rather see that. But, it's not that bad. So if you're a fan of the original stuff before Lucas screwed with it, that would be the way to go. The guys on the Warp Zone. Yeah, I'm sorry this is a huge Star Wars episode, but as much as I clamor to be a Star Trek fan, I love Star Wars just as much. It's it depends for me on some of that. And I've recently gotten really heavy into Rebels, so it's kind of also helped indoctrinate this, be stuck in my head, and all the random stuff that's come out from all these publishers throughout the last few months, including our own site. We've done numerous podcasts on it in the past, plus the stuff that Optimus Solo's been doing lately on Geekcast Radio around the Top 100, which is now done. So check that out as well. The Warp Zone did a Star Wars recap song, basically catching you up before you see Episode 7. And it goes through the original trilogy. It skips the prequel stuff. But it tells you basically all you need to know in it, and it's like 5 minutes long. But if you don't know it, I mean, most of us have watched it recently enough, so it's not a huge deal. So, I want to talk about, now that I have the chance, we had our film festival this week, which was fun. They displayed all of our films in the auditorium of the college. It was really neat. They were a hell of a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Even the one that I thought was going to be cursed turned out to be really, really well done. After we added sound effects, like all these groups added more sound effects, added the custom scores that the music class did for them. It's really made them all that much stronger. And our teacher even said that this was the best that has come out of the program so far. And I believe he wasn't just saying that because I've watched some of the other ones. They weren't as good as the ones that came out this time. And I'm not just trying to toot my own horn saying that my groups was great, because they were all great. The stories were good, the visuals were good, the stuff that we heard and saw was great. All 5 films. I'll link those in the episode post as well. So there's that. Yeah, and I'm writing a book based on the quasi-comics and comic book characters I created for my EDX Smithsonian Pop Culture and Superheroes class, the first and second one. I kind of started fleshing out a universe between the two of them. And it's been turning out pretty well. I was kind of surprised. Some of the stuff that I had fleshed out, some of it, again, needs work. But, I'm still working my way through it. I got the prequel pretty much done. The prologue done. And it's more or less going to start out before, like, the beginning of time type of thing. And then it's going to kind of go in that whole prologue is going to be at that timetable. And then chapter 1, I'm already writing, and I might tweak the prologue a little bit still to expand on it. But the prologue is there's going to be a lot of time jumping for the first couple chapters, setting up the connections between elements that are happening at different times. This is a very time travel centric novel that I'm writing. I'm not sure how many chapters it's going to be. I'm just going to wait and see when it ends, how far I get. I'm hoping to have a lot of it done by June, but it's hard to say depending on what I get done. I'm hoping screenwriting, I get to write some of it. Or at least like a chapter of it or something. But it's going to take place like in that far distant past and then go way into the future, and then it's going to go into modern day, or quasi-modern day. So, and then that's where it's going to hang for predominantly a lot of the novel. And that's, I've got a lot of the characters fleshed out. Some of them may or may not appear right away. Some of them may or may not have future versions. Some of them may or may not, I've been plotting this for a while, so I just got to flesh it out a little bit more. But I do have the few characters I do have fleshed out, I'm already writing about. So I've been having fun with that lately. I will say, for those that are looking forward to more different content on the website, I am going to revive the video Altered Geek with the new year and try and keep consistency with it every week. In addition to the podcast, so that maybe I can talk about some different things and have more actual interactions and maybe some like I've been playing Battlefield 4 and really enjoying it, so I might do some stuff like that and have people watch me play really badly. I'm kind of an asshole when I play the game, so it's kind of fun. And I say that in the nicest term possible because I'm terrible for my team at certain points, but I'm great for my team at certain points because when I'm terrible, it means I get killed quite a bit. I'm not very good. More so because I expect the run up, shoot, kill, blah, 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 like Unreal Tournament or like a Call of Duty type of thing like I've seen now. But the Battlefield's a lot more kind of watch, think it out, strategically, and I like to run in guns blazing a lot of the time, so that's usually why I die. Or I stand in the same spot shooting something and somebody gets me from behind, so it's usually that. But anyways, they usually like me because I'm a good spawn point. I'm usually the last line of defense, and then usually I'm a pretty good ammo holder, so they like to keep me around in certain instances. And sometimes I get lucky and I manage to mow down a bunch of guys before I go out, or I have a lot of claymores, or I have contingency plans for when I die so that other people go with me. So yeah, that's what's been going on. Like I said, I'm going to skip the week of Christmas unless you guys want me to do an episode. There's not really all that much I think that's going to come out. I'm hoping I can see Star Wars this next week because I'd really like to talk about it. But I don't really have anybody else that's going that I can go with in the meantime. So there will be one episode after Christmas, obviously, for the end of the year. There will be an end of the year podcast for Geekcast Radio, kind of doing a year-end review. Top lists and like top tens, movies, top 5 TV shows, so on and so on. And then we're gonna do the start of, and we'll kind of announce it in that episode too, but I'm gonna kind of blatantly bring it here. The GCRN Awards, 3rd annual. It's going to be like a 3-week voting. I'm gonna have that set up so everybody will be able to submit their submissions because all the backlash we've had over the TV show Top 100 just kind of gets you a little bit of that getting to pick your own realm. I don't touch it whatsoever. I put it all together in one big form, and then I see how many times the shows pop up in that category. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Do 3 weeks of that, and then there's going to be, just to make sure everybody gets time to input their selection. And if I notice that it starts to trickle off, I'll cut it off early, and then we'll actually have the top 5s of each category voting again, and then a follow-up podcast. Following that, I'm really excited because we're going to do our first top 50 countdown. And I kind of thought this up during the top 100 because we're trying to do something different this year as far as keeping it consistent with a lot of events and fun stuff going on for you, the listeners, and to kind of keep us interested as well. And the top 50, because it was going to be a top 100, but we wanted to narrow the spectrum down because there's more in this category than most of us can actually think of. I think it even dwarfs TV to some degree because there's so many of them. And there's different iterations of them too, so it depends on what you're playing on. Yeah, it's going to be... And only people that know this will be the ones that listen to this show. It's going to be the top 50 video game franchises. And how that's going to play out... I was going to do top 100 video games, and the thing with the video games is, if I did it in that way, there would have been a lot of, like, you would have had probably like 2 Call of Duties, 3 Battlefields, 3 Arkham games, 2 Halos, and it would have been a lot of the same stuff showing up because people have different preferences, or you would have had, this rock band, this guitar hero, this, whatever. There would have been a lot of the same crap showing up, just a different number next to it. And I wanted to avoid that, and we were kind of bringing that up when we were discussing it, and we figured if we did franchises, then we could weigh them as a whole. And I've at least experimented with a lot of different video games. Even if I don't like them, I see a lot of the merit in them. I'm a lot less biased in my video game playing than I am in my TV shows. So I'm a lot more open to, like, if we're weighing stuff as a franchise, like, I would have to weigh everything that's in that. Even if there's, like, say there's 12 Halo games, or, 14 Call of Duty, and then you got 4 Batman, and then, so on and so forth. And it would only, like, Arkhamverse would be one, and, like, the other Batman games are sprinkled differently. So, it's, if you're doing Batman movie games or something, or animated games or something, they would still be something different. Wouldn't be the same franchise. So that'll be kind of fun to kind of do, because it's going to be included with you, the listeners, as well, and not just us from Geekcast Radio. There will be a 2-tier system set up, though. And that's how it's going to be different from the top 100. We're going to have Pardon me, I had to get a drink. We're going to have a setup so that all of our same contributors do, our own, like, our staff top 50 franchises. And there will be a listener top 50 franchises. And we're going to experiment with this top 50 and kind of see how it goes. And if it translates well, we may actually be able to do something different with the top 100 in the future with it. But for right now, that's how we're doing the top 50. And I figured this would give us kind of the best of both worlds. I would have 3 different ratings, and it would go by the ultimate listener vote. It just, when it shows up in a certain place, we would say where the staff ranked it, or where it would have been overall if we would have mixed the numbers between the two. So it's something I've been playing around with in my head for a while, because I was watching the battle of how myself and others were either intentionally trying to place shows in the top 100 to make sure that they made the list. Even if, like, my putting Flash at number 4 on my top 100, no, it doesn't deserve to be number 4 of all time. There's no way in hell. I totally agree with that. I put it there because I wanted to make sure it hit the list. And the way the tally works is, yeah, that's why. And I wasn't the only one guilty of it. A lot of people did it on the list. So in that sense, it skewed it a little bit, but at the same time, with the amount of contributors we had, it balanced out easily, and I think that the top, 15, 20 easily were what should have been there anyway. So that being said, we're also going to tweak the top 100 next year. It's going to be a little bit different too, so don't worry about the rating system affecting things. There's going to be a new system set up. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. I know a lot of people don't care for the technical jargon. I'm sorry if I'm boring the hell out of you people. I'm just enthusiastic about it because I feel like it's a welcome change that we've been needing. Same token, I want kind of people's opinions on the whole process of any of those, like, that I've described already. Because I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think, or like suggestions before they actually come into play. Because there will be a top 100 this year, not telling what it is. There will be the top 50 this year, and there will be the awards, and there are some other GCRN tournaments and things sprinkled in. There will be 2 GCRN tournaments this year. One of them is, I'll reveal that later. There's going to be 2 of them anyway, but that aside, we're going to have a lot of fun this year. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I also want comments on the website. Like, are there things that bother you guys as far as the website? Because I know that we changed the website design during the top 100. We were having issues with something with the old layout. There were some problems with it, so we switched to this new layout. And I feel like it organized things better in some ways and then not in others. So I'm just kind of curious to hear what you guys think about it. So yeah, I'm going to leave the episode right there. I'm going to cut it off right here. I know I've rambled a little bit, jumped all over the place, and I know it's a little jarring. I'm sorry, this week was a little bit different. I'm probably going to do a couple of random solo shows here or there. Just kind of depends on the week. I'll have my thoughts a little bit better organized at times. But I really want more feedback as far as you guys are concerned, because I really want to open back up the communication lines. I really want, I really want to have more interaction with you guys, because I feel like I have more fun and I feel like you guys have more fun when there's something that we're all enthusiastic about. And like last week, I put it in the comments, and I keep forgetting to say it in the show, like the question of the week or the night or whatever. Last week I put, what did you think of the TMNT 2 trailer? And I didn't actually bring it up in the show, but I put it in the episode post. Doesn't really help anybody, which that's on me. I am still curious about that, don't get me wrong, but after you see Star Wars, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say about it. No spoilers or anything, but just, overall what you thought without getting too in-depth. We can always talk spoilers like after the new year, after everybody's seen it, because most everybody's going to see it before the new year. Let's get for real. I'll probably still see it before the new year. So, and commenting on last week's episode with Jedi Disaster, I totally get why buying tickets in advance is not stupid, especially to Star Wars, because people are just going to be lined up down the street to get into that film. That I would never argue about. I did go, see some of the other Star Wars movies and had them pre-ordered beforehand and went and saw the films. Like, they were pre-ordered a month ago, like, for some of the other movies that we saw for the prequels. They didn't deserve it, in my opinion, for the prequels, but that's neither here nor there. This one I would have, if I know I could have gone and seen it, but I have 2 kids, so it makes it very difficult to get one of the grandparents to watch them temporarily so we can leave. We haven't seen a decent movie in the theater in months. Last movie I saw in the theater was Avengers Age of Ultron. Every other movie I see after that, it's been at home, and I've had to wait for it to come out, so it really sucks. So, yeah. So anyways, just let me know in the episode post. You can get a hold of me on the Twitters at SCP21 or at Altered Geek. I am Steve Megatron Phillips, and until next time, unleash the geek in you and get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. See you next time.
Star Wars has returned to resume its storyline. Between the last film and now, well, it's been a long, long time. If you've forgotten anything, we'll remind you now in a very detailed recap of how it all went down. Escape pod to Tatooine, Jawa's sentient machines, young Skywalker's sunset scene, R2 and some people scream, Obi-Wan in long dark robes must repair C-3PO, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope, Uncle Owen, and nope. Mos Eisley, lots of weirdos, not the droids as far as we know, Han shoots first, bye-bye Greedo, Chewie, jump up to light speed, go! Alderaan to smithereens, that's no moon, tractor beam, dress up as the other team to save the captured future queen, dodging blasters, trash compactor, quote off between dueling actors, wayward student slays his master, must escape but must go faster, TIE fighters hot pursuit, don't get cocky, kid, just shoot, Yavin 4, prep the troops, may the force be with you, Luke, plus Red 1036 et al, torpedoes miss, computers fall, use the force, now Luke, don't stall, Vader, Vulcan, woo, close call, Death Star goes kablooey, everyone get out there, zoomy, medals for their royal duty, Han and Luke, but not Chewie. Star Wars, this is everything that happens in Star Wars. Ice Planet, Wampa Cave, Obi-Wan beyond the grave, Solo in the blizzard brave, Tauntaun guts, Luke is saved, back to base of frozen water, Nerf herder, kiss that's awkward, Star Destroyers, giant walkers, lots and lots of rebel slaughter, asteroids, take a breather, roar enormous phallic creatures, feature. To Dagobah Luke, where you'll meet your ancient Muppet Jedi teacher. Physical and mental training, Vader vision, Yoda's phrasing. Do or do not, X-Wing racing. Whoop, gotta go, friends need saving. Cloud City wariness, once more 3PO's a mess. Darth teams up with Boba Fett as the world's worst dinner guest. Luke is on his way, although carbon knife will pour Han Solo. Altered deal, damn it Lando, awesome kiss, I love you, I know. Luke and Vader, this is it. Epic battle trading hits. Sabers clash, pop and fizz. Nothing is as cool as this. Vader cuts him out the wrist. High above an endless pit. Darkseid pitches, Luke resists. I am your father. Holy shit! Star Wars, Star Wars. This is everything that happens in Star Wars, Star Wars. Jabba's palace, next vendetta. Chewie captured, plan develops. Leia's bounty hunter, get up. Unfreeze Han, but it's a setup. Luke shows up in Tatooine. Leia's super hot bikini. Rancor fight, that bikini. Sarlacc pit, that bikini. Walk the plank, but the plan is set. Green lightsaber catch, no sweat. Jabba grossly choked to death. The same is true for Boba Fett. Dagobah, Luke retreats. Master Yoda dies in peace. Kenobi paints a family tree. Remember that one kissing scene? Death Star almost good to go. The Emperor now joins the show. Endor is more frightening though, with teddy bears, with bows and arrows. Luke gets caught, confronts his dad. Come with me, you're not all bad. Rebels move in to attack the Death Star, but whoops, it's our trap. One more saber fight's a given. Vader's hand cut symbolism. Lightning fingers, indecision. Vader toss and all's forgiven. Bonding quick before it blows. Remove a helmet, that's gross. Endor dancing, happy ghosts, and that is how the story goes. Star Wars, Star Wars. That was everything that happened in Star Wars, Star Wars. There were only 3 installments of Star Wars, Star Wars. Don't look any further into it. Star Wars.